What if I told you there's a hospital in America where over 60,000 people took their last breath? A place that was supposed to heal the sick, but instead it became a factory of death. Inside those walls, thousands suffered in silence, and their screams never stopped. Even today, people say the hospital isn't empty. They say the dead still linger. If you stand in the darkness, you'll hear it a whisper calling your name. And the scariest part? Room 502. A nurse died there nearly a century ago. And some say she still waits, standing by the window or hanging from the ceiling. This is not a ghost story from a movie. This is real. This is Waverly Hills Sanatorium. And what I'm about to tell you happened to 5 friends who walked inside one night, and only 4 came out. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Pause, faint whispers echo. Stay forever. Asterisk, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky, is one of the most haunted places in the United States. It was built in the early 1900s during the tuberculosis outbreak, a disease that killed without mercy. The hospital was meant to save lives. Instead, it became a graveyard. Over 60,000 patients died here, their bodies quietly taken away through an underground tunnel known as the Death Chute, so the living wouldn't see how many were dying every day. When the hospital shut down in 1961, the building was left to rot, the paint peeled, the windows shattered, but something else remained, something people couldn't explain. Locals swore they saw figures in the windows, they heard coughing in the halls, and whispers, soft, cold whispers calling their names. In 2014, 5 friends decided to explore Waverly Hills for their YouTube channel. They wanted real ghost footage for Halloween. Jake, the leader, always chasing danger. Melissa, his girlfriend, who hated the idea but didn't want to be left out. Ryan, the skeptic, who laughed at ghost stories. Amber, the quiet one who believed in spirits. And Chris, the cameraman, who never stopped filming. It was almost midnight when they parked near the broken gates. The massive building rose against the night sky like a black shadow. Its windows were like hollow eyes staring down at them. No lights, no sound, just darkness and silence. Holy Shasterisk tea. This place looks straight out of a horror movie, Ryan said with a nervous laugh. Perfect for our video. Jake grinned, lifting his camera. They pushed open the rusted gate. It groaned like something alive. Their flashlights cut through the darkness, but only just. Inside, the air was damp and heavy. Every breath tasted like mold and dust. Their footsteps echoed on the cracked floor. Broken hospital beds lay rusting in corners. Wheelchairs stood like skeletons in the shadows. The walls were covered in peeling paint and strange stains. Melissa whispered, "Why are there handprints on the walls?" They all turned their lights. "Small, dark prints, dozens of them," Ryan scoffed. "Kids breaking in, nothing creepy about it." But then they heard it, the first sound, a whisper, so soft, so close. "Leave." Melissa froze. "Did you hear that?" Everyone stopped. "Hear what?" Jake asked. "A voice," she said, "right behind me." They laughed it off. But Chris's camera caught something, a shadow slipping across the hallway behind Melissa. None of them noticed. They moved deeper into the hospital. The hallways stretched like a maze. The silence was suffocating. It felt like the building was watching them, breathing with them. Finally, they reached the 3rd floor. Jake turned to the camera and whispered dramatically, "This is room 502. They say a nurse hanged herself here in 1928, pregnant, alone, and ashamed. Some people claim they've seen her still walking these halls. The door creaked open with a slow, aching sound. Inside, the smell hit them thick, rotten, like something dead a long time ago. A broken bed frame sat in the corner. The cracked window let in a slice of pale moonlight. Amber gasped suddenly. There, at the window, she pointed, her voice trembling. Everyone turned their flashlights. Nothing, just darkness outside. Chris checked his camera screen, and his face went white. "Guys, look at this," he whispered. On the screen, clear as day, stood a woman in a white nurse uniform. Tall, still, her face hidden behind long black hair. She wasn't moving, just standing by the window, staring out. They spun back toward the window. Nothing. The room was empty. Panic set in. "We're leaving," Jake said, his voice shaky now. They turned toward the door, and it slammed shut hard. The sound echoed down the hallway. Then, footsteps, slow, heavy, coming closer. Ryan shouted, "Who's there?" No answer. Then, a whisper, soft, almost sweet. "Don't leave me!" Their flashlights flickered. The temperature dropped so fast their breath turned white. Melissa clutched Jake's arm, tears streaming down her face. "Please, Jake, we need to go." They yanked the door open and bolted. The hallway stretched endlessly now, like a nightmare. Behind them, something followed. Not running, just walking. Step, step, step. Chris turned to look back and felt it. Fingers, icy cold, digging into his shoulder. A voice in his ear. "Stay forever," he screamed. They all burst through the exit, sprinting into the night. They didn't stop until they reached their car, hearts pounding like drums in their chests. When they checked the footage later that night, the last frame froze them all. Chris's face, blurry, and behind him, the nurse, smiling. Chris never spoke about it again. But a year later, he disappeared. People say he went back to Waverly Hills and never came out. Asterisk whispers echo. Forever. Stay with me.